Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. We're in the studio. We are going to be talking today about Chelsea's strikers, forwards. We're going to be looking at the stats so far this season for Broja, for Jackson, for Sterling, for Palmer, for Mudryk, and then I've thrown Ian Maatsen in there just because it's only fair. Broja's not had that many minutes. Maatsen hasn't, Mudryk hasn't, but we're going to take a look at the options Chelsea have and try to come to some kind of answer to the question of, do Chelsea need to buy another striker in the January transfer window? There are big names that are being touted. You've got Ivan Toney, we're going to talk about him. Victor Osimhen after the debacle, the ordeal that's happened at Napoli. He seems to have come back, pledged his allegiance to Napoli, the fans, but is that going to sit with the club for very long if he misses the next penalty? Before we do get into anything though, if you guys saw yesterday's video, you'll be aware of this one, but we've got a massive Chelsea-Arsenal giveaway. Here's some information. Yes, guys, huge thank you to Paramount UK for sorting out this giveaway and sponsoring this video. How would you guys like to win 2 tickets to Chelsea versus Arsenal after the international break? But not only that, you get to go on the pitch as well and compete in a football challenge at halftime to win some signed goods, maybe some more match day tickets. In order to enter, you've got to go into the links in the description. Follow Paramount UK on X, formerly known as Twitter. Reply to the post and share it with the person that you would like to bring with you. The giveaway ends on Saturday at 2 p.m. UK time. Unfortunately, this is only for people in the UK, but this is a massive, massive giveaway. And I know that you guys are absolutely going to want to be at the biggest game of the season so far, Chelsea versus Arsenal. It's completely free to enter, super simple. Check the links in the description and let's get back into the video. You guys know what to do, links down below. Let's talk a little bit about so far this season, Chelsea in front of goal. We touched upon it yesterday, but I don't necessarily think it is all about confidence, and if you didn't see yesterday's video, I'd recommend going and checking it out. We were talking about the way that Mauricio Pochettino has surrendered a lot of the possession that Chelsea was seeing in the early games of the season that led to frustration without being able to break teams down. We would get into good positions, but we were fluffing at our chances, snatching at things, and then all of a sudden, in the last 3 games that we've won, we scored 1, then we scored 2, then we scored 4 in the game against Burnley, so you could argue, based on basic maths, that we'll score 8 against Arsenal. Football don't work that way. We're certainly not scoring 8. Maybe we score 4 again. Who knows? Cannot wait for that game. But what is happening at Chelsea right now is a debate amongst the fans about whether or not the strikers that we have are going to be good enough to see us through the season. And when you look at the league table, you got Manchester City with back-to-back away defeats. You've got Tottenham currently top of the league, and you're thinking, well, is this going to last? Ange Postecoglou has absolutely sorted that club out right now to the naked eye from the first 8 games of the season. Arsenal are there again. They seem to have a bit more steel about them now. They've got Declan Rice in there, leaders in the team, and they're joint top of the Premier League table. Chelsea are 9 points adrift. We can cut that to 6 from Arsenal if we beat them at Stamford Bridge. So I'm not going to sit here saying to you there is a title charge still in there because, well, beating Fulham, beating Burnley. You guys are the first to tell me in the comments down below to relax, to calm down a little bit, to chill out. So I'm not going to jump the gun and go that far, but let's talk a little bit about the attackers that we have currently at the club. And the first one I want to talk about is the man who doesn't really have any say in anything right now because he was unfortunately injured in the game against Borussia Dortmund on a dodgy American pitch in the summer. Christopher Nkunku. When we saw Mauricio Pochettino's pre-season plans, the reason why so many Chelsea fans were jumping the gun, getting very excited, wondering, pondering, dreaming about a title challenge was because of the way that Christopher Nkunku influenced the Chelsea attack. It alleviated the pressure of the most advanced man because Nkunku wasn't that. Nicolas Jackson was. Jackson was putting the ball in the net, a lot to do with the way that the players behind him were linking up with him. It was something that we hadn't seen Chelsea do for quite some time. And since I made the video yesterday with my little ode at the end to Eden Hazard, I've seen more videos of the guy. And you just look at the little flicks, the little touches, the combination play, particularly with someone like Olivier Giroud, and you can see why, when Hazard was still at the club, Chelsea didn't have any problems putting the ball in the net, because we weren't relying on the repetitiveness of the way that we've had to deliver the ball to the striker in recent seasons. Christopher Nkunku is that connecting piece. He is the glue. The way that I've said that Palmer, Sterling have kind of become the glue for the Chelsea attack in recent times, because Sterling will put the ball in, it'll be explosive. Palmer will be a little bit more secured, take his time, a little bit composed. And I think the balance of those two, with either a Broja or a Jackson in the middle, is Pochettino finding a way that Chelsea can still be clinical, create good chances and finish without Christopher Nkunku in the team. Now, Nkunku is supposedly ready to be back in action around the middle of December, which is a lot sooner than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it could have been one of those where it's like February, you could have some little teething issues when it comes to getting back to full fitness and whatever, and it could have even been towards the end of the season. But the good news is Christopher Nkunku is going to be back significantly sooner than what we were initially led to believe. Now, I think no matter what happens with Chelsea between now and Nkunku's return, with the players that we've currently got, and you can see the stats from so far this season here up on the screen of Broja, of Jackson, Sterling, Mudryk. Maatsen is in there as well, just because he's kind of been used in that role, and also Cole Palmer. Now, at the moment, when I think about Chelsea's attack, I think the way to go forward is with Raheem Sterling on his favoured left side, with Cole Palmer on the right, with Nicolas Jackson through the middle. We saw it so clinical in that second half against Burnley. It was night and day from that first half display, where I think Armando Broja was a little bit selfish. I think he struggled to integrate himself with Palmer, with Sterling. And then when Jackson came on, we see the type of striker that Nicolas Jackson is. He's more than willing to do a lot of the dirty work that a lot of strikers don't want to do. But in the modern game, it's exactly what you do need to do, especially in a Chelsea team where the link between defence, midfield and attack has been so scattered and poor, I think, to summarise it as best way as I possibly can. It's not been good, but Nicolas Jackson brings that dynamism with his movements and his ability to finish in tight spaces that we saw against Burnley. Nicolas Jackson is a striker who so far this season has been heavily scrutinised, both by myself, you lot, and a lot of football pundits, journalists, and people that just know anything and watch football. People can look at Jackson and be like, well, these aren't bad chances. We could put ourselves in those positions and maybe we wouldn't even be able to look as poor as Jackson was in the 6-yard box at some points. However, there's never been any doubts or any questions about how Nicolas Jackson is going to work hard for the team. So with that being said, if Nicolas Jackson can continue to put the ball in the net like we saw him do in his 45 minutes against Burnley, then Chelsea will have themselves a goal scorer. Why will we have ourselves a goal scorer? Well, we've got creators. We have got players willing to balance the team out. Palmer, composure. He's a bit more, he's not necessarily slow, but he sees the game in slower motion than a Raheem Sterling, who is more erratic. He's more willing to run at defences, which, when it comes to the balance of the opposition defence, they're less likely to just be block, block, block as a result of that, because you've got two different components offering two methods of entering the box in Palmer and Sterling. So the question starts to come as to who the current best striker at Chelsea is before we talk about options moving forward. Armando Broja was out for so long. So in order to find his feet and find his fitness and everything, it's going to take some time. And I do think that Mauricio Pochettino really likes Nicolas Jackson. And I think as fans, we all love him as well. And if he keeps putting the ball in the net, he's very quickly going to become a cult hero at Stamford Bridge. So for me, right now, that front three of Sterling, Jackson, Palmer is absolutely the way that Chelsea need to move forward. So the questions come about, is it going to be enough? Are Armando Broja, Palmer, Sterling, Mudryk, when he finds his feet and gets back into the team, which is another question in itself. Is Mudryk going to be able to displace Sterling on that left side when Sterling is delivering the kind of performances he did against Burnley. And I think to bring it back to the topic that we discussed yesterday, which is about Chelsea, can they carry on that momentum? That's what we need right now. We go into such a tricky run of fixtures. But if we keep seeing these developments under Pochettino tactically, fluidity in the final third, then there's no reason why Chelsea can't be climbing the table and looking back at those European places. But we're not going to jump the gun on that. But the discussion about a striker potentially joining Chelsea in January, my opinion on this is that at the moment, we've only just started to see us looking more clinical. It's one game against Burnley where we finally score a handful of goals. So that isn't enough for me when it comes to the data to look at this and think, well, yeah, all right, we can take that Burnley game and we can rule out Ivan Toney. We can rule out a move for Victor Osimhen. Is that even possible in January with Napoli looking to retain their Serie A title, looking to go further in the Champions League this year if they possibly can? I think Chelsea can't rush the signing of the next big striker if it's even going to be necessary. But between now and the middle of December, Chelsea not only have to work on a new striker now, if they want one, because you're seeing all the rumours about Arsenal and Arteta. When they signed Raya, there was already discussions about maybe getting Toney in January too. There are very few ready-made strikers available right now. So what I don't want to see Chelsea do when we're going into this transfer window in January is simply signing someone for the sake of it. You've got some names that have come out of nowhere right now in the Bundesliga as well. You've got Guirassy, who's the top scorer in the Bundesliga. I don't want Chelsea to just be rushing into that. I think the striker that Chelsea need, if indeed we do need one, is someone like Ivan Toney. Premier League proven. It's going to put the ball in the back of the net. The price won't be astronomical compared to the return that he pretty much guarantees in a team. I actually think he's perfect for Arsenal. I think he literally would be the perfect Arteta signing. But I do have a lot of faith in Nicolas Jackson. The problem is, I don't want to rush in and say in this video that because we scored 4 in the last game and 2 in the game before, Broja, Jackson both scoring goals, I don't want to turn around and say, as a result of that, yeah, we don't need a new striker anymore. But I don't want Chelsea to rush this one, because I think what we've got to do is allow Pochettino to integrate Christopher Nkunku back into the team. We were scoring goals for fun in pre-season. Granted, that was against the League 2 side Wrexham. And then Brighton, we scored 4. I wouldn't say that was a 4-3. I think we absolutely dominated them in that game. So I think if we can get Christopher Nkunku back in December, the way that we're being rumoured to be able to right now, then I do think there is a world where if Chelsea can keep scoring the way that we have been, I'm not saying we're going to win all of these games that we got coming up, but if we can keep scoring, creating good chances, allowing Palmer to bed himself into this team, because I think he's pretty much a guaranteed starter at this point. Sterling as well. You've got the little anecdotes of Mudryk in there. You've got Matsson's ability in the final third in those tight pockets with the little touches to link up with players like Jackson who love to get involved. Then I think adding Nkunku into that, it's like a little bit of peri-peri on some chicken. It could be delicious for Chelsea Football Club. So right now, my position is, and I hate to say this answer to make this video seem a bit pointless to some of you, I don't know if we need another striker right now. And I think time, especially against good teams where we're going to concede more chances, we're not necessarily going to have possession, which, like I said yesterday, could benefit Chelsea. But I think the way that these results go will absolutely, without question, define where this season can go, what the ceiling of this season will and could be. So as a result of that, I think we've got until about the end of November, beginning of December, to really know, with Pochettino now being the one dictating the players that he needs. This is something I'm so happy that I've seen. Pochettino is now the one who's going to be instigating what players in what positions to move for. Chelsea have done a lot of business. We have set ourselves up foundationally for this new multi-club model, young players, young Brazilians, all this stuff. And now it's about Pochettino picking the right players. And I think between Broja and Jackson, with Nkunku dropped in there, we will have answers by January. It might not be necessary, or maybe it is. The next 7 games are going to tell. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. about this striker debate right now at Chelsea. Where do you sit right now? What would the parameters be for you that you need to see in order to say no striker or yes striker? Osimhen, Tony. Those are the two that I've always wanted. But right now, I'm kind of just biding my time a little bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you are new. Come on, you Blues.